And welcome back to another episode of Survival Recordings in Space Engineers with your host, Ryan. I'm obviously still working on that whole introduction and the sign off, and just bear with me while I figure it out. I don't know, I have to come up with exactly what my flavor will be for these things. But last time we finished building our first basic refinery and we got the scrap all pulled together. We had a little bit of cobalt. I just returned from the cobalt boulder and I am now able to, or wanting to, drop that cobalt in here. Oh yeah, that'll be great. We're going to have probably around 100 cobalt, which is 100 metal grids, which is probably maybe that should be more than enough to make a basic atmospheric flyer. I wanted to discuss that concept of, instead of doing a atmospheric flying vehicle, a ground vehicle with wheels. And while I have nothing against the ground vehicles, I enjoy them immensely. If I were not already trying to build a base into the side of a cliff, well then sure, I would build a ground vehicle. But even here, I mean, I have to go almost straight that direction in order to get off of this prominence. And there's no way I'm getting a ground vehicle up and down these cliffs. Not easily. So, yeah, just based on the terrain I'm in, I think the likelihood of doing an effective ground vehicle is, well, slim. But that's not to say I dislike ground vehicles or find them to be too frustrating. I often play around with the ground vehicle. Anyway, I'm going to finish up doing the collection system for that iron, and I'll bring you guys back when I start working on the next project. That sidecar is getting awfully close. My base is right there. Just finished up that project. I'm going to see if I can get intentionally closer and see if it gets right above my head, if it's going to be too close. Okay, looks like that's about as close as it's going to get, and it hasn't sent a drone after me. So, alright. Yeah, I need more guns. I need any guns. Okay, so I have everything set up now. Here's the collector. I had to put a few pieces of frame in there so everything gets funneled into it. And then we've got some conveyor tubes going in all the way to large grid, small cargo container that feeds into the assembler and into the basic refinery. Basic assembler, basic refinery. But what I've also done is what I'm standing on here, which is a conveyor sorting system. So these can be set up so that they only allow certain items to pass. In this case, I'm whitelisting stone, and I'm draining all the stone out of the system. I don't need much stone. If I ever have a need for gravel, I can easily find stone and gravel. Now, the thing I attached into this spot here, which, there we go, you can see it, is a connector. Now, it was a little bit expensive at 130 metal plates, steel plates, but for the amount of time it's going to save me, I'm going to be, I think it's worth it. And now, a little bit gamey here because I'm putting it under the level of the voxels, so it's ejecting things into the void underneath me. But, well, the alternative would have been running a pipe of conveyors all the way out to the exit and then ejecting it as having them roll down the hill and collect in a pile at the ice lake. Which, yeah, once I redesign this whole area as a larger collection point for when I'm flying in with loads, I think I'll probably do something like that because it'll look cool. But for getting myself set up right now, I think this is what I need. So at this point, I can go up there and mine out that entire boulder and just collect all of the iron that it'll make. So yeah, let me get on that. So I said I would mine out this whole boulder, and you know, I think I actually made a pretty good dent in it. Let's see how much I've collected. So like I said, everything should be getting funneled through. Alright, so I did intentionally stop anything from going in there, because if stone went into the basic refinery, it wouldn't get ejected. Alright. Okay, I've got 35,000 stone ore, or not stone ore, iron ore. That 35.5 thousand stone ore. Let's see how that gets me with. It doesn't even, it fills up entirely. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and back to the basic refinery and allow it to use the conveyor system so it'll pull it all by itself. Yeah, woo, alright. Let that process for a while, and yeah, let me see the, I gotta crouch over here. Let me see if this ejection system's not, like, backed up or anything. Perfect. Alright, well, yeah, I'm gonna let that all go for a bit, and, yeah, and I'm gonna start considering what to do with this. Like, the core piece, the survival kit, that I can't grind down. I can't get rid of it because it has medical components. The, let's see if I can show you, yeah. So the medical components, those 3 medical components, I can't reproduce without silver. Silver is not found on this Earth-like planet. I'm sort of debating how to continue the story. My thought on that process is like, well, the precious metals have all been mined and stripped away from this planet. That's why there aren't any. So, and actually, I guess that's not true that there aren't any at all. The, procedurally generated ores does have a very small chance of you finding silver deposits. Point being, I'm gonna have to expect to have this one unit here be the thing that I have permanently. So, I'm going to preserve it. If I want, I could replace anything else on here. What I think I might try and do is all these thrusters are, none of them are connected directly to that survival unit, the survival kit. So I might try and like grind away at these bits here and detach the flying unit part from the survival kit. Except that case right there, the battery is connected to the survival kit right there. Yeah, that's the survival kit. Right onto the battery. Something. Well, I'm going to let some of that metal process, get myself a good supply of iron ingots. Let's see just how much has been made so far. Oh god, yeah, 3,000 already. Oh, perfect. Okay, that's going to have me set for a while. Great. Alright, so I am going to think about what to do, and I'll bring you guys back. So I wanted to bring you guys back while I work on an interim project. I realized that one wind turbine was not going to be able to provide enough energy to, keep everything running and charge up batteries in a reasonable manner. So I devised a slightly more permanent design for where the things are. So you come out here and then centered on here is 2 of these wind spokes, I guess you could call them. And, yeah, I think they're going to be sufficient. Alright, that one's ready to go. May as well get it gone. But yeah, that should provide enough electricity for my needs right now. So, I've finished putting together all those wind turbines out there. They look pretty good. I think that'll be appealing. And then if I have another spoke going out under there, further down, that could be a pretty appealing, pretty neat look for this whole cliffside base. And I also thought that concept of trying to, gingerly remove bits and pieces from the drop pod and repurpose them. At this point, I've got the refinery, I've got the assembler. Yeah, I'm going to take a hit on the parts. Out of the 4 here, I'm really only going to be able to make 1 replacement, but it's going to be a lot less of a headache to try and just completely redesign something brand new. So I'm going to get to doing that. And here's a trick, a tip. I'm going to use a rotor. Turn it on its side. And actually, I've already done it, and you've already seen it. 1 rotor on its side with a small head is going to connect the grids so that they can power each other. So I can build some batteries on this new ship that I'm making and just charge them up from the wind turbines and the base power. And I mean, the other thing about this is that I really didn't want to bother with is that battery, it's 100% full. It flashes in and out. There you go. See? 100%. So, yeah, that'd be a lot of energy that I'd just be wasting. Whereas if I leave it intact, build a replacement battery, then drain that one into that one, it'll be a little smarter. Oh, and actually, I just remembered, speaking of batteries, I want to put some batteries in the base itself so that I can maintain some power buffer if somehow my wind turbines get destroyed. So let me do that quick with you on camera. It is the technique that I like to use is a block welder. That those don't require a whole lot of materials, right? In fact, there might even be some of those materials made. No, I need more interior plates. What's on my oh, that was what's on my build planner. All right, so nothing on my build planner. I'm going to middle click on my inventory. So that's what I don't have in the inventory, and I can then put those into construction. And I'm going to put it right like that. Oh, it's going to complain because it's going to clip into there. So welders need to have a full space open for them. But there we go. And now that welder, when it starts welding things, it can weld things in basically a block all the way around the point right here. So anything in any of these directions. Which means I'm going to put the batteries in the ground here and here, because those will connect to the grid. How do I want to do it? I want to have it so that you can see the power strip there. Yeah. So those will be protected inside. They won't get hit by any drone attacks. We're well underground. And more importantly, this welder can build them for me. Because, man, building batteries, hauling around those power cells is, well, it gets frustrating. So, my welder is attached, and I'm going to turn it on. And that is going to start building, I just remembered, it'll start building everything, including these floor plates. So, you know what, I may as well add those all to the build queue. And the, ouch, and the batteries. there. So now the assembler is going to build those things in the background, and then these pieces will all just be built up while I work on the ship. You take off the rotor part, and I have build vision here, which is, it lets me interact with things without going into the inventory, the menu. But, like I said before, if I wanted to be able to do this without build vision, you get access to the control panel here, and we've got 2 incomplete rotors. It'll be the second one, and I can add a small head. So there it is. That's attached. Now, the other thing that we can do is lock the rotor. That way, whatever I build here isn't going to flop back and forth. It's going to be you know, a stable work surface. Looks like it's probably building up those power cells. Well, I can hear it in the background going away. Oh. Curious what parts they're doing at each point. Don't get too close to those welder heads. They will hurt you. So get a little health back, get a little energy back, and I deposited what I had in my inventory, which included some steel plates. I need steel plates. So out of that 30,000 ore, I got 15,000 ingots. So, I mean, 15,000 may sound like a lot, but that's... even just the pieces that I have laid out here, including these, the wind spines, I wouldn't be able to finish this with that amount of money. I could probably finish it with the 15,000, but it'd be tight. I used some of the plates in there. I want to actually finish building those and not just leave them as scaffolding, cause one stray bullet on the scaffolding will cause it to break. Actually, there's another tip. If you look at the, I think if I have to, there we go. If you look at the little info on the top left corner, that's the build info mod. It's showing that it's got 0.02. Let me see if I can. It's right in this area here that I'm talking about. 0.02 out of 1.3 thousand health. I don't have any more steel plates in my inventory, but if I weld this up, even just that little tiny bit goes up to 100 health, which 100 health isn't a ton, but it might be enough. It might be the difference between the thing breaking immediately and breaking after 2 shots, 2 bullets. So yeah, that's a one tip, is actually weld your scaffolding if you want to give it just the tiniest little bit of extra health. Who knows if it'll matter, but it doesn't take much time to do. And besides, we were waiting for that assembler to finish making the parts to make the batteries. Oh, hey, one of the batteries is built. I knew I had collected some battery components previously, so that must be what the assembler is working on right now. Is oh, ooh, one of the interior walls. Hey, I've got floor again. I say again. I don't know that I've had it previously, but yeah, fun times. All right, I'm gonna call the recording for right now. I'll bring you guys back when I start designing this ship, this little, you know, air speeder type thing. Maybe an air speeder. Maybe I'll design it off of a Star Wars air speeder type doohickey. I could get away with that, I think. Yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna want to be able to drill into boulders and bring stuff back with it. So it's gonna have to have some core requirements before anything else. So we'll talk about all that when I have materials ready to build it. I should have thought about that first. All right, catch you guys in a bit. Hey, so I am thinking I wanted to talk about the requirements of this ship that I'm going to be building. The batteries are all set back there, so I'm making up some equipment. But let's talk about what we want this ship to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to a new hotbar. You can do that by pressing the up-down buttons on your mouse, or it's control the number. Yeah. So on this thing, well, let's go to the all blocks here. We're going to need a cockpit, obviously, to sit in and fly around in. And I'm going to base it off of battery powers, so it'll dock and charge up and then undock and fly away. Obviously, we're going to need some atmospheric thrusters. I think I'll go with the sci-fi ones, because I have that expansion pack, may as well use them. Next, we're gonna want the ore detector so we can find things. We're going to want a I'm gonna want an antenna, but I have to build a beacon before I can build an antenna. So there's something to consider. But the other thing is, I want it to be able to haul ore back and forth, and I want it to be able to drop the ore down a drop chute, and that's gonna need a connector. It's probably gonna need some conveyor junctions. It's gonna need some containers. Now, one thing with the battery-powered atmospheric thrusters, the more weight that they are needing to carry, the faster the battery gets drained. So I think in lieu of making one trip with a large cargo container's worth, I'm going to opt for making several trips with a medium cargo container's worth. And so the next thing, obviously, we're going to need the drill bit. And yeah, I think we're probably going to end up wanting to use some small conveyor bar bits, but that's going to be the core pieces of this ship. So, let me head back this way. Oh, and I cleaned up the HUD a little bit. I got rid of the crosshair. It's really useful when you are, trying to pinpoint a very specific thing, but if you're trying to show a video, I guess it probably gets in the way a little, doesn't it? Let's grab a few. No, those are the extra. I have enough in my inventory to work with, except maybe I'll grab another 10 of those. Let's go to this bar. In this bar, I can have my basic armor blocks. The light armor cube, the light armor slope, the light armor tip, and the light armor base. Oh, that's the base, that's the tip. And those are the pieces that you use much more often than not. The rounded slopes, I've used them before. They're specialized, though. Yeah, there we go. See, like I said, the crosshairs are useful, but they are a little in the way. So, let's start at the back and then move forward. We're going to have a connector. And what do I want to do this?
Fuel critical.
So that was my jetpack spinning me upside down, which allowed me to drop the block down one. If I go over like that, and then I go back to my thing, I can put it here, rotate it around, and now it's facing backwards with enough support along the base to show me what's what. So next, the sorters. I want to be able to eject things out the pipe of the back. So I need a sorter, and that sorter I'm going to have to turn things on and off with, make it so it only pushes out stone, and then it only pushes out, or it doesn't push out. That's how I'm going to make this utility maximized. A cargo container, and actually let's see what we can do with 2 cargo containers. And then I don't need to worry about oxygen, I don't need to worry about hydrogen, but I am now at the point where I need to worry about power. So let's look at the batteries. How many batteries can I fit in here? If I 1, 2, 3. That lined up with the sorter. All right. 4, 5, 6. All right. That 6 batteries should be sufficient. And actually, let's put in another cargo container. But this one, I want to make sure I have those ports. Actually, you know what? I don't need a cargo container. I need a conveyor junction. I want to go this way with it. I'm going to grab a cockpit. Have it face the right direction. Although, I kind of like the industrial cockpit for these sorts of things. It is kind of big looking though. Maybe it'll hang down a little bit. Yeah, that'll be fine. And we've got drills. line it up properly, we got one drill there. How does that look? I think just based on my size here, I either have to put the cockpit up.
Fuel critical.
Let's get rid of that. Alright. Wouldn't be practical at all to do a fighter cockpit. It would conceivably match up with that hole in the back, but yeah, I don't know. I think I like the size of the standard cockpit just a little bit more. Excuse the beeping. Now, this is going to be about the extent of this thing. I'm expecting this guy to be able to run for quite a long time and for quite the distance, and just a matter of getting the thrusters on it now. I think I might be a little... I'm going to redo this full front. So that, yeah. How does this look? One drill's a little further forward than the others, but if you imagine that the surface that you are drilling into is like that, that'll actually spread it out pretty evenly. Alright, yeah, that's viable. Alright, so... And that also means I could conceivably put, like... Could this fit here? No, it won't, because that's blocking that space, so... No, that won't work there, but I could maybe put it on the underneath of the chin there. So... Don't necessarily need to turn this thing into a brick. Don't need to utilize all spaces in all directions. In fact, I kind of want it to be a little bit flatter than not. Maybe have it look like there's some kind of like a pickup truck, maybe, with the cab and then the bed. That would be kind of neat. Kind of evoking that already. Yeah, so let's see. All of these are piped together because I used the conveyor frame in there. So the conveyor frame is here, conveyor junction rather. The drill bits are connected to the small ports on the sides of that. The cockpit is connected to the conveyor port. The drill is going through the cockpit. The 2 medium cargo containers are inside there. We've got these 6 batteries. 6 batteries. There's like... I debate, because the batteries, with the 20 power cells each, they will cost a lot in weight. So, just to be able to fly the batteries around, having enough thrusters will be pertinent. Now, I don't anticipate getting this guy into any fights, any combat. I would be just running away. So... let's start putting in some thrusters. Don't know if I want to put a large thruster on this thing. I mean, it could... could work, I guess. No, it's too much. Too much. So... I'll want some lifting thrust, and it looks like if I got... I can get reverse thrust there, but I can also get it up on the shoulders up there. And if I'm angling this thing down into a boulder, I want to be able to back out of it well enough. So I want to have good reverse thrust, good side-to-side thrust. I don't necessarily need any downward thrust, because, again, on the gravity planet. But might be worth having 1 or 2 that I can leave turned off. So if I accidentally roll the thing over, I can hopefully, like, flip it using those thrusters. I think I can't get it to be much taller than it currently is. So maybe I could do... I'm gonna decide to take out these middle batteries. Yeah. Alright, tell you what, I'm going to weld all of this up, get the batteries charging, and then I'll bring you back when I'm done with that, and we'll work on the next part. Well, folks, remember that thing I said earlier about how silicon would be the thing I need the least of? Well, that's still true, but I need more of it. So I'm on my way to the silicon boulder across the lake, and I'm going to grab some more of that. But that's going to be it for this episode. I will bring you guys back when I get back to the base, I am going to work on that. The pickup truck? Yeah, we'll call it the pickup truck. And yeah, then hopefully we can get flying. So I'll see you next time on Survivor Recordings.